NationwideRadioJM.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock. From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning. Good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Wednesday, June 11, 2025. Opposition PNP set to stage a peaceful protest in Old Harbour Square later on Wednesday. Integrity Commission cracks whip on 3 councillors at the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation. KSAMC issues formal letters to 9 media entities for outstanding advertising fees. In regional news, TNT government awaits news on identity of male national facing terrorism charges in Venezuela. In international news, Los Angeles police conduct mass arrests after downtown curfew kicks in. In sports, Warner Brown leads national senior football team to 3-0 win over Guatemala. And in business, U.S.-China agree on framework on trade after talks in London. The details after the break.
Taxi drivers, ready to start earning more money? Join Amber on Time, Jamaica's taxi app built just for you. 0 commission in the first month, no catch. Just get a free vehicle tracker to protect you and your ride. Stolen vehicle recovery and panic alarm response included. Download the Amber Captain app today and start driving. Or roll through to our office at 30 Westminster Road, Kingston and sign up on the spot. So whether you're the Kingston, Mobile, Ochi or anywhere else, work there. Come take advantage.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The opposition PNP set to stage a peaceful protest in Old Harbour Square at about 8 this morning to register their disgust with the appointment of Dennis Chung as a Chief Technical Director at the Financial Investigations Division, FID. PNP President Mark Golding says the opposition will not relent in its efforts to have Chung removed from the post.
We will be renewing our protest against corruption in the country, focusing at this time on the appointment of somebody to run a key law enforcement agency who we feel ought not to be eligible for that position because he has already indicated his position on a key investigation of the Prime Minister's affairs, which the FID is responsible now for dealing with, and somebody who has no law enforcement experience and really ought not to have been hired for such a position.
Today's planned event is set to be the second public demonstration organized by the PNP on this issue. The first occurred last Monday in front of the headquarters of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service at National Heroes Circle in Kingston. Mark Golding says the Dennis Chung issue is not the only ill affecting the country under the Holness administration.
Look at the situation with the roads in the country. Look at the situation when you need to go to hospital. How long you have to wait to get a bed if you need to be admitted. The equipment that's not working and you have to go to the private sector to pay a bag of money to get your diagnostic test done. All of these things are as a result of resources being starved from key areas because of graft thieving basically and misappropriation of public resources. So Jamaica, it's time to stand up for a better Jamaica. Stand up for a Jamaica where the resources of the country are used for the benefit of the people and are not being sidetracked by bad governance.
Mark Golding, a PNP president. The Integrity Commission's Acting Director of Corruption Prosecution, Renif Lawrence, has ruled that 3 councillors attached to the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation be charged for failing to file their statutory declarations. The rulings were tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The councillors in question are the PNP's Vanrick Preddy from the Helsher Division, the JLP's Donovan Guy from the Twickenham Park Division, and the PNP's Dwight Burke, who represents the Sligo Division. The report from the Director of Investigations found that the 3 breached Section 43 of the Integrity Commission Act by failing to file their statutory declarations within the stipulated time. Renif Lawrence agreed and subsequently ruled that they be charged. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, has issued formal letters to 9 media entities over outstanding fees linked to advertisements placed across the corporate area. Speaking at the corporation's monthly meeting on Tuesday, Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, revealed that the Revenue Department is preparing to ramp up enforcement efforts.
Our most recent focus has been on media houses. Our Revenue Department has written to 9 such entities. 2 have since made payments, 1 have requested additional information, and the others have not even acknowledged receipt. Let me use this opportunity to remind the public of their company's obligation to pay the annual fee to the KSAMC for display of signs and advertisement. For those who have not yet responded to our official communication, we will be taking further actions against you to ensure that the KSAMC is paid what is owed to us. We are sending a strong signal to media houses who we believe should act with more responsibility and lead by example.
Mayor Swaby is reminding both the public and the media that failure to settle the debt fees constitutes a breach of the Town and Country Planning Act.
The law states that, and I quote, "No person shall display any advertisement in, on, or over any land or buildings without prior approval of the local planning authority and the payment of the prescribed fees." End of quote. Therefore, if your signs, advertisement do not fall within the exemption under Section 5 of the Advertisement Regulation Act, you have an obligation to submit an application to the KSAMC and to pay the requisite fees. These fees are non-transferable. They only apply to the individual or the businesses of whom the application was submitted.
Andrew Swaby, Mayor of Kingston. The Caribbean is projected to remain largely unaffected by global trade tensions. That's according to the latest Global Economic Prospects report published by the World Bank on Tuesday. However, the report anticipates average global growth will decline significantly, particularly in the United States. Mahiri Stewart tells us more.
The World Bank blames rising trade barriers as the most significant inhibitor of global growth going forward. The multilateral says global growth is slowing due to a substantial rise in trade barriers and the pervasive effects of an uncertain global policy environment. The country anticipated to suffer the most will be Jamaica's largest trade partner and tourism source market, the United States. Growth in the United States is projected to fall by nearly half, moving from 2.3% to 1.4%. That's a 0.9-point downward revision compared to the World Bank's initial forecast in January. Global growth is also revised downwards from 2.8% into 2.3% for 2025. For Latin America and the Caribbean, regional growth is projected to hold steady at 2.3% this year, with most major economies outside the Caribbean showing little dynamism. The World Bank says all countries in the region face an increase in U.S. tariffs of 10%. It says some countries, notably Brazil and Jamaica, also have tariffs on U.S.-bound steel and aluminium exports. However, the World Bank says growth in the Caribbean economies is projected to remain solid, reflecting Guyana's continuing oil boom, with aggregate gross domestic product GDP expanding by 3.9% in 2025. Growth in the sub-region excluding Guyana will moderate to 3% in 2025. This is underpinned by tourism and other service activities. Jamaica's growth is projected to be more tepid at 1.7. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Opposition spokesperson on social transformation and protection, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, is supporting a call for the appointment of an elderly advocate. She made that argument during her submission to the Special Select Committee of the Senate on Tuesday.
I would support, in addition to that, the elderly advocate, because that is the avenue through which you would get that legal support and to get that heightened protection of a very vulnerable group. And as was said, a lot of times the abuse that takes place is by family members, right? And so it's hard if you don't have an advocate to be able to walk with you in that process, because you're not going to want to report it, because you sit down there and you're just wondering how my picnic could have done me that after all I want me to do for them.
Duncan Sutherland says the appointment of an elderly advocate would support the legal assistance and guidance required for the more vulnerable within the group. They would act in some cases as a power of attorney in circumstances where there is no family or financial, mental, or where there are circumstances of financial, mental, and physical abuse.
I think that it should be given some powers with respect to the programmatic review, like an advisory council. In the Child Care and Protection Act, there's an advisory council that has oversight over the programs and how you execute, etc., etc. I think if they got that level of authority within the law, I don't think they have it now. I know that it exists, but I don't think, because we don't have a law that it would have oversight over. So if you have an Elderly Care Act that defines the rights and defines the duty of care of the state, of the family, of the caregiver, then in that context you could strengthen their ability to have that oversight, so it's not just a ministerial oversight.
Patricia Duncan Sutherland, opposition spokesperson on social transformation and protection, and the president of the PNP Women's Movement. One of the submissions made to the committee is for the creation of an elderly commission to continuously review the implementation of the Elderly Care Act. The proposal was made by the island's resident aging expert, Professor Denise Eldemire-Shera, and the founder of the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, CCRP, Jean Laurie Chin. Meanwhile, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the government is moving to expand its capacity to address the needs of Jamaica's aging population. Making his contribution to the sectoral debates on Tuesday, Dr. Tufton says the country must prepare to address what is a growing need for critical care among seniors.
The shift underscores the need to prepare for aging population, adapting societal structures including the workforce, health systems to address this evolving demographic landscape. And so from health's perspective, we are looking to the future. What do? We're preparing the health program for older persons plan, which seeks to maximize the period in which older persons maintain good health, wellness, and functional independence through the promotion of healthy aging through this life course approach. Building the capacity of at least 90% of healthcare practitioners in primary care to identify and manage healthcare needs in older adults and to provide allied health and rehabilitative services to older persons with complex health and disabilities needs.
Jamaica's population is aging, with the proportion of people aged 60 and over expected to increase significantly in the coming decades. This trend is driven by increased life expectancy and a decline in fertility rates. Another important aspect to be addressed is the specific needs of elderly women, such as menopause. Menopause describes the stage of a woman's life when her menstrual periods stop permanently and she can no longer get pregnant. Dr. Tufton says he's tasked Professor Denise Eldemire-Shera with developing a clinical response for this segment of a woman's life.
Menopause, we know, is neither a disease nor a disorder. Let me make that clear. However, it impacts the state of mind and the overall wellness of so many of our women some of whom begin to experience symptoms as early as in their 30s. This is what the research says. There's also growing evidence that there should be a clinical response to this personal life stage experience. I've therefore asked a team headed by the Most Honorable Denise Eldemaya Shearer to explore and establish a standard clinical response for this life stage. It is time to recognize, Mr. Speaker, that our women experiencing these symptoms should not be experiencing it on their own. They deserve support, particularly in the context of an older population for the future.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. And the Health Minister says that 27 new operating theatres will be constructed over the next 2 years. He says that the work, which has already started, will serve to boost the country's ability to respond to the healthcare needs of the country.
I'm also happy to announce, Mr. Speaker, that we see the need for additional operating theatre capacity. As a result, we are building out as we speak, and have built some already and more to come over the next year or so, 27 new operating theatres to add to the capacity of operating theatres. That's a 37% increase in new operating theatres over the next 2 years.
The Health Minister was making his contribution to the sectoral debates on Tuesday. As a part of his presentation, Dr. Tufton gave a breakdown about where the new facilities will be located.
Cornwall Regional Hospital will have 11 new operating theatres. Spanish Town Hospital, which has 2, will have 5. St. Anne's Bay, 1 additional. Maypen, 1 additional. Western Child and Adolescent, 4. Shackleton, Noel Homes, National Chess and Lionel Town and Linstead Hospitals will get 1 additional. That's 27 over the next year and a half, Mr. Speaker. We will, as a government, improve our existing maintenance arrangements for operating theatres and add significant inventory, Mr. Speaker. That's why we need to stay the course.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is estimating that it will take up to the next 3 years for the rural school bus service to reach full capacity. Minister Vaz says that this will ensure the cost effectiveness of the program.
So, Mr. Speaker, we have 850 rural schools, of which the phase 1 of this program is going to serve 258 out of the 850. 30% of the school rural population will be served by these first 110 buses. And within 3 years, this policy will continue to roll out year after year to make sure that within 3 years we can get to all 850 schools at a very cost-effective price. The cost with everything for 1 year for these 110 buses is a little under $1.5 billion. Therefore, in 3 years, you're talking about $4.5 billion, which is, in the scheme of things, probably the best value for money that you can get in terms of transporting these children to school.
The rural school bus system is set to roll out in September at a flat rate of $50 per trip for students. Minister Vaz says that the service, which he is describing as a game changer, will go a long way to ease the burden faced by rural parents and students who suffer greatly in securing transport to and from school.
Which 60 will be rolled out for September and the rest rolled out between September and January morning. Rural St. Andrew will have 7 buses serving 23 schools. St. Thomas will have 7 buses, 10 schools. St. Mary, 7 buses, 11 schools. Portland, 7 buses, 8 schools. St. Anne, 10 buses, 29 schools. 5 and 22 for Trelawney. 8 buses, 17 for St. James. 8 buses, 12 schools for Hanover. Westmoreland, 8 buses, 11 schools. Manchester, 7 buses, 25 schools. 7 buses for 25 schools, St. Elizabeth, and 10 buses for 36 schools, and 9 for Clarendon, serving 32 schools. 258 schools, 100 routes. That is just phase 1.
Darrell Vaz, Minister of Transport. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Be in the know. Learn how local government is working for you. Follow us on Instagram and X at LocalGovJA and on Facebook at Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. The time by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is
6:19.
Taste it, eat it, drink it, applaud it. The 26th staging of the Jamaica Observer Tabletop Food Awards, the Caribbean's premier culinary event, powered by MasterCard, takes place Thursday, June 26th on the East Lawns of King's House. Get your tickets at Starbucks at AC Marriott, Starbucks Ligny, Starbucks Waterloo, Signature Boutique, Unit 9, Legal Business Centre, 31 Upper Waterloo Road, Uncorked 2, Constant Spring Road, Uncorked Barbican, Sovereign North, Uncorked Ochi, Draxhall, Uncorked West, Fairview Shopping Centre, Resort Way by Ereline, Shop 4 Progressive Shopping Centre, Kingston, Cafe Dolce, 114 Constant Spring Road, Kingston, Fromage Bistro, 8 Hillcrest Avenue, Kingston, and of course the offices of the Jamaica Observer in Kingston and Montego Bay. Adults 18 years and over. Drink responsibly.
In regional and international news this morning, in Trinidad and Tobago for regional news, the government is still awaiting news about the identity of Trinidadian man allegedly under arrest and facing terrorism charges in Venezuela. Last Wednesday, Venezuela's Justice Minister told his nation on June 2 that the Trinidadian, whom he identified as Guis Kendall Geron, was involved in terrorist activities aimed at destabilizing Venezuela. TNT's Foreign Minister Sean Sobers told Guardian Media on Tuesday that he intends to send a third diplomatic note to the Venezuelan ambassador today, following the ambassador's failure to provide a response from officials in his home country. According to the minister, diplomatic notes were dispatched on June 3 and 4, inquiring about the named individual and others accused of joining paramilitaries to carry out a military incursion into Venezuela. To date, no response has been received to a one-page diplomatic note sent by TNT's embassy in Caracas on June 4 to Venezuela's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. International police in Los Angeles say they've made mass arrests after a fifth day of protests over U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration raids. Mayor Karen Bass declared an overnight curfew within a relatively small area of the city's downtown district, saying businesses were being vandalized and looted. Elsewhere, the immigration raids that triggered the protests last Friday have continued, with the deployed National Guard troops now protecting border control agents on enforcement operations. Trump's row with state officials ramped up after he deployed troops to LA. He has vowed to liberate the city, but has been accused by California Governor Gavin Newsom of an assault on democracy. On Tuesday, Trump defended his decision to send 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines, saying it was to prevent the city being conquered by a foreign enemy. These troops lack the authority to make arrests and have instead been tasked only with protecting federal property and personnel. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
This Father's Day, escape to the Pamper Temple for ultimate relaxation. Adam and Eve Day Spa. All treatments are infused to melt your tension and remove stress. Pamper Dad with a massage, facial, body treatment, and mani-pedi. Unwind at Adam and Eve and enjoy complimentary Pure Country juices and a Johnny Walker. But now at www.adamandevedayspaja.com. Purchase gift certificates. Call 876-754-6017 or WhatsApp 876-567-2142 for details.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game. No stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Now for your morning sports, Arnott Garden star Warner Brown scored twice on Tuesday night to lead the Senior Reggae Boys to a 3-0 win over Guatemala in their Group E CONCACAF World Cup qualifier at the National Stadium. Brown, the top scorer in the recent JPL season, struck in the 37th and 73rd minutes. Jonathan Russell scored the other goal in minute 26. Jamaica finished the series as zone winners with 12 points, 3 more than the Guatemalans, who along with Jamaica had already secured a spot in the final round of qualifiers. The draw for that final round will be made on Thursday. Guatemala and Jamaica will face each other again next Monday at the CONCACAF Gold Cup in the United States. South Africa A will need another 32 runs to complete victory over West Indies A on the final day of their unofficial 4-day test at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. The South Africans, set 100 to win, will resume on 68 for 2 with Marquise Ackerman 20 and Sinethemba Kweshao 19, the not-out batsman. On Tuesday, the hosts were bowled out for 211 in their second innings. John Campbell made 59, Jamel Warrican 39 not out, and Joanne Lane 34. Milali Mpongwana took 4 for 52. Scores in the match so far: West Indies A 220 and 211, South Africa A 332 and 68 for 2. Jamaica will be sending mixed martial artists Matthew Colquhoun and Damar Haslam to the Pan American Games in Ecuador from June 26 to 30. Colquhoun will compete in the Combat Samba 88 kg division, while Haslam will participate in the 71 kg category. Federation President Daniel Chaco Wilmot says Colquhoun will be a hit at the tournament.
Matthew Colquhoun, he is a veteran. He has been fighting since 2014, 2015. He's been able to get 4 golds and about 2 silvers in his time competing in Combat Sambo. Now, he's definitely the favorite for the 88 kg category, and I'm sure people out there, they definitely look out for him each time we go down. The other combatants, the other fighters are definitely looking out for Matthew to see how well he does. Damar Force Haslam, it's his first time representing Jamaica in the Pan American Games. However, we expect good things from this fighter as well, as he has some very deadly striking. He has knocked out a couple of people in MMA, and he's also a very good, very capable grappler. So we expect that his striking will knock fear in his opponents. We may see him definitely coming back with a medal or 2.
Daniel Chaco Wilmot. Finally, in your morning sports, Canadian-born Mikhail Bartley has received his passport to represent Jamaica at the FIBA Americas Under-17 basketball tournament. The date is tentatively set for July 15 to 19. However, the country and venue are yet to be decided. Bartley qualified to represent Jamaica through his paternal grandparents. Bartley plays the shooting guard and point guard positions.
The decision was made by mainly me and my family is thinking Jamaica was a better option for me than playing for Canada, and just the opportunity was way better than Canada. I don't know too much about it, but I want to learn more about it. I think I contribute a high IQ, good playmaking, leadership role, even though I'm going to be one of the youngest on the team, and a great scoring ability. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I just want to represent the team, show my skill set, and just show them what I can do.
Mikhail Bartley wrapping up your morning sports.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
In business this morning, the U.S. and China say they have agreed in principle to a framework for de-escalating trade tensions between the world's two biggest economies. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said the deal should bring a resolution to restrictions on rare earth minerals and magnets. Both sides said they would now take the plan to their presidents, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, for approval. The announcement came after 2 days of negotiations in London between top officials from Beijing and Washington. Chinese exports of rare earth minerals, which are crucial for modern technology, were high on the agenda of the meetings. Last month, Washington and Beijing agreed on a temporary truce over trade tariffs, but each country has since accused the other of breaching the deal. Now, Singapore-based budget airline Jetstar Asia will close down at the end of July, with affected passengers to be offered full refunds. The airline has struggled with rising supplier costs, high airport fees, and increased competition in the region. More than 500 employees will be laid off. According to part owner Qantas, the shutdown will not impact the operations of Australia-based Jetstar Airways, nor those of Jetstar Japan. The budget carrier will offer progressively reduced service over the next 7 weeks, and travelers will be notified if their flight is affected. Passengers with tickets to fly after the July 31 closure will be contacted by the airline. Some affected customers could be moved on to alternative flights operated by the Qantas Group. Jetstar Asia is advising people who booked through a travel agent or separate airline to contact those providers directly. 16 routes across Asia will be impacted by the shutdown, including flights from Singapore to destinations in Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. And finally, in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has gained 47 cents and will open trading selling for an average $160.44 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican dollar has gained 71 cents and will open trading this morning selling for an average $117.74 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican has gained $2.96 and will open trading selling for an average $215.21 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
6:33.
Yo, genius! We just get the Burger King Double King combo. One original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Junior with cheese. Well, 2 sandwiches enough. Plus a small fries and soda for only $1,300.
You use the new rubber money. You did say the money can stretch a Burger King.
Me mean you get more food for your money. One combo, 2 sandwiches.
So you want I got eat all of 2 sandwich, brother? My belly can stretch, you know.
Get the BK Double King combo. Limited time only at Burger King.
The loan frenzy is on with Infinity Co-op Credit Unions. Fund your possibilities loan promotion with 0 to low processing fees, up to 240 months to repay, and competitive interest rates. You can borrow using a secured or unsecured loan to fund your dreams. Dream it, fund it, live it with Infinity, where possibilities are endless. Visit infinitycuja.com or call 876-926-6973 for more details. Conditions apply.
I love my life. 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 No, no, we don't know where tomorrow might bring, cause the future, the hours away. So me, I live my life today. Me, I live my life today. Yeah, so love me, make me talk what I want to talk. Me have enough to say. So me, I live my life today. Never live my life today. So everybody help me sing it out. Oh, I love my life. Oh, I love my life. Oh, I love my life. So me, I live my life today. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. So me, I live my life today. Make a change, don't make nobody stress you. Don't make no blood pressure, make your life left you. Never you hurt a soul unless you have to defend yourself if them try test you. Thank God for my life, yes. Me wake up this morning and alive, yes. Make them go and judge, nobody no perfect, and Father God alone bring brightness. If you don't like come and say, go find the Lord. Me not have time for the work, I time so hard. Them not mad me not gonna psycho ward. Or go join the morgue, enjoy my life for y'all. Few friends from me have way dear to me. Me not trust people, so me choose them carefully. Them are not clean, so them can't come near to me, can't compare to me. No, no, we don't know where tomorrow might bring, cause the future, the hours away. So me, I live my life today. Me, I live my life today. Yeah.
A very good morning to you. Good morning to you. Welcome to Nationwide this morning, NTM. It is Wednesday, June 11, 2025. To Charmaine Walker and all of our YouTubers, our listeners, happy midweek NNN family indeed. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Morning, Albert Morgan. Good morning, Tawna. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hey, to you.
Good enough, good. You all right?
Yeah, man. Doing well.
Latoya! Because last time I said George, so Latoya. Morning to you, Latoya. Morning to you, Latoya. Morning to you.
Good morning as well to Jam Gran, Erica Smith, Randy Willis. All of you popping up in the chat as usual, keeping our company in the mornings. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listeners, we have a lot to answer for as a people when it comes to our reduced expectations of our political leaders, and for the fact that we have fallen into, I wouldn't say a trap, but we're in a mode where, because our expectation of the conduct of our leaders is not of the highest order, their conduct then doesn't meet the threshold of respectability, honor, and dignity that you would expect of someone holding significant public office. And because of that, when there are infractions committed by our leaders in the discharge of their duties, they have no compunction to continue their work, oblivious to the transgressions, deaf to the injury caused by their conduct, blind to the fallout from their actions, and they'll soldier on because what? 9-day wonder and controversy talk will soon die down around something that they've done which is totally out of line in the respectable sense. So where am I going? There was once a time when politicians in serious countries, something would happen and they would resign, or they'd offer to resign because they felt that they had brought the office into disrepute. They believed that their government, their party, could do without the aggro of having to defend them wherever they went. Wherever the Prime Minister went, they'd be asked about, what do you think about Minister Thomas's comments about this, that. What do you think about Minister Thomas's conduct in this matter? So, and it would hound the Prime Minister, hound the party leadership. It was not good. It was distracting from governance. And so people would say, you know what, I would step aside. Mark you, there have been instances even in all of that where people have offered to resign or resigned over matters that you're saying, well, you really resigned over that. But it's not the scale of the event, It's the effect and the controversy stirred, and people say, listen, if this thing causes controversy, it is best I step aside. That happens. And for that to have been happening in many jurisdictions across the world for a long time, it was because standards were high and politicians were expected to hold and to maintain and establish the highest standards of behavior and conduct. Your conduct should be unquestioned. What you said and did was not to attract any controversy whatsoever. But times have changed because we as a people, we let so much slip. In everything we do, we accept the lowest standards. In professionalism, we accept, we are self-serving. So if the person I support, if their behavior falls out of line, I am going to encourage them to keep soldiering on because I support them. But if it's somebody I do not like, if it's the other party or somebody from the other side, I'm going to bay and call for their resignation. I'm going to hound them out of office like a dog because, of course, I want to score political points. I want to see my political opponent weakened. But the principle does not hold for the person on my side if they were in the same situation. And I'm saying that is not the fault of the politicians. That is the fault of us as a people because we've accepted low standards. In Jamaica, that is a problem that has been allowed to grow over time because we've seen several ministers of government transgress and their leaders, rather than issue reproach for actions taken, reprimand publicly, reprimand privately. It is about bold-facing, telling the public that nothing is wrong, that this person is, youthfully exuberant, just to use one phrase, to excuse everything. And that then makes a hypocrite of the politician, the political leader, who would then tell a high schooler that the way they are conducting themselves is wrong. You realize that we have lost the ability as a nation for our politicians, most of them, not all, to go in front of a room full of teenagers and to preach to them about standards of behavior. Because, of course, what the children see from the leaders in other fora makes a lie of the message that they're carrying in the moment. And the fact of us losing that as a nation has helped to weaken the Jamaican democracy, and I blame us for it. So, in thinking about this communication with the listeners and the viewers this morning, I went back into some reading I had done a long time ago, 2013 to be precise, for something I produced. And I found some examples of politicians in problems resigning over matters that us know, in the way that we are thinking, we would say that those things are trivial. But the bigger message behind the resignation was for the very point I made earlier, that they felt that they had brought their office and their party and their government into disrepute, and so it was honorable to resign. Example 1. December 1988. The junior health minister in Britain, a lady called Edwina Curry, she went on a news program and she said that there was a salmonella problem where eggs were concerned in the UK. At the time, Britons consumed about 30 million eggs annually. Now, for the junior health secretary to say that on TV, you know what happened. Egg sales plummeted. Farmers were livid because they must say, well, we don't have any evidence of that, But if the health secretary says so, how are then we to convince people that the eggs that they're consuming are safe? Yeah? She didn't get any backing from anywhere in the government. The Department of Health didn't back her either. And she was forced into a corner. Now, her party defended her. Her government defended her. But looking on the problems she had caused for people who sold eggs, people who produced eggs, Edwina Curry resigned on that basis. I ask you, Ton, I ask your listeners to think of a Jamaican minister saying something like that and something like that happening and them taking the step to resign. It would never happen. September 24, 1992, Britain's Heritage Minister, David Mellor, resigned after the People newspaper published details that he was having an extramarital affair. They published that he had a girlfriend and that they would meet up at this place and that place for romps, frolics. And the man said, well, this whole thing, everywhere my prime minister goes, they're asking him about Miller. If I go anywhere to speak, journalists want to talk about that rather than my ministerial duties. He resigned because of that. Now, this was consensual frolicking with an adult woman, of course, not his wife, but it was serious enough to him, and the controversy was serious enough to him for him to say, you know what, I'd better step away from government because of this thing. Yeah? Even though he never confessed or owned up to what the magazine published, but him just said, listen, this brouhaha, unnecessary, right? December 23, 1998, the Trade and Industry Secretary in Britain, a man who's still front and center in British politics, now that Labour is back in government, Peter Mandelson, he resigned after taking a loan of about £370,000 from Britain's Paymaster General. Now, he says he took the loan before he became a minister, yeah? And it was a home improvement loan. But because the department he led was doing business with the office of the Paymaster General, critics were saying, no, the intermingling and the commingling and the proximity between, how is it that you're supposed to be signing contracts for this gentleman, yeah? And you're taking a loan from him, it doesn't look good. He was defended to the nines by his party, by his colleagues, but the pressure became so much that Peter Mandelson had to resign, yeah? I ask you again to consider another situation where Ron Davis, October 27, 1998, the Secretary of State for Wales, he was mugged while walking in an area of Clapham Common in South London that is notorious, the article says, as a gay meeting place. So he wasn't caught in flagrante delicto in this space. But for you to be mugged in an area notorious for so-and-so, people are saying, well, what are you doing there in the first place? He had to resign. He resigned as a result of the controversy caused by being mugged in a place known as a haunt for gays in South London. I say these things to you not to tickle mirth or to inspire mirth, but just to look at the reasons people have resigned. And I know these examples are British, but they're the best I could find, and I think they make the point. I was watching a committee meeting in the Commons myself some time ago, maybe it was perhaps during COVID time, and the Minister Turner turned up. It may have been 2 hours late for the committee meeting. So there's a big group of MPs there waiting for him. And they kept here, he's 20 minutes away, he's 10 minutes away, he's 20 minutes away. It added up to a long time. And when he got into the House and the Speaker berated him for being late, the man offered his resignation. Yeah. Even the Speaker was saying, all right, I mean, it's serious, but come on now. And he was adamant that he felt he had let down his colleagues who were there waiting on him, wasting valuable time sitting waiting on him. And he felt that, boy, he had undermined the office. And they were saying, yes, we agree that it's bad, but we think you should get on with business, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying. So these are not perfect examples, but I'm saying there used to be honor among men and women. We used to demand the highest, the utmost for the highest. Know what we have? We have silver-tongued, lying politicians who we've created and caused to be silver-tongued and lying, demanding the highest and the utmost and the exemplary behavior and conduct of others when they themselves and those around them are dirty vessels. And it's not them that created this. It is us, me, you, and everybody else, because these are the standards we have accepted over time. And I say, we can't lament that the problem exists. We can't wait on some mythical being to form out of the clouds. Turner says her superpower would be teleportation. We can't want somebody to teleport to this land to change that for us. We have to begin changing it ourselves. We have to expect more. We have to demand more. We have to demand any profession that especially interfaces with young people. Teachers should be exemplars in terms of conduct and behavior. Politicians the same. We can't half-arse it. Yeah, we can't. It can't be piece-a. We have to demand the best. And we have to let these politicians know that you are all falling below the required threshold, and we deserve and we want better, because that's how the country will be better. And resist those who are themselves compromised, who have no moral authority to tell you about anybody and the standard of behavior that they're not meeting. Yes, resist them and ask them all to get their acts together. It's a simple thing I'm asking this morning.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:50.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings.
Yeah.
A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hatley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. Beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation. UDC for you.
Ludlow McLean with Street Smarts One. Good morning, sir.
Boy, morning, George. Morning, Tona.
Morning to you.
Yes, I'm looking at some clouds above there, and they're really dark, but heading towards the mountain. So, but on the other side, it's bright, so and a bit hazy too. But in terms of what's happening on the road, the road is busy, but the movement is good in most spaces. Even along Washington Boulevard, even along Mollines Road, even going towards Compton Spring from Dunrobin. It's building, but as the light changes, it really moves. Compton Spring Road going all the way down. If you're coming from Olivia Road, that's up in the Manor Park area, until Olivia Road, until Shortwood Road, it's pretty good movement. Arcadia Drive coming down towards Barbican Road, the movement is also good. Even the Rust Lights in the vicinity of that traffic intersection there, and you make that left turn and going eastbound along Barbican Road, it's pretty good. Yes, a few cars are at the traffic intersection there to get onto East Kings also, but the movement is pretty good so far. Going all the way up to Ligane, it's not too bad. It's building, to remember that area in the vicinity of the embassy, but the movement is good going up to Papine, and if you're coming down, it is also not too bad, except for people crossing in the vicinity of the embassy. So first report for the morning. Remember, I'm saying it's looking, the clouds are really heavy up looking towards the mountains there, but let's see what happens come 7:18, 7:20. Back to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow there with Street Smarts One. Up next, your word of the day. We hope we get a good sentence.
Your word of the day is spelled Galactoid, spelled Galactoid.
Galactoid.
Galactoid. Galactoid.
Galactoid is your word of the day, galactoid, and it means resembling milk or milky. Dictionary.com telling us that the word galactoid was first recorded between 1880 and 1885. The galactoid substance resembling milk was used in the scientific experiment. That's the sentence this morning for galactoid. Galactoid, meaning resembling milk or milky. Jermaine says it could use another sentence. I'm giving you what I have this morning. I'm giving you what I have. But that's the word of the day. Up next, your features at the top of the hour, the news.
Canine parvovirus, CPV or parvo, is the most serious virus that dogs and puppies can get. Thankfully, it's preventable with proper vaccination, though it's still widely prevalent, especially in puppies and poorly vaccinated adolescent dogs. In Pets World today, we look at the causes, symptoms, and the treatment for canine parvovirus. Canine parvovirus is an infectious DNA virus that commonly causes severe illness in young and unvaccinated dogs. It primarily affects the body's rapidly dividing cells, meaning the intestinal tract and bone marrow are the most affected. Heart muscle cells of very young puppies can also be damaged by parvovirus. A veterinary expert at PetMed, Dr. Kathy Nelson, says parvovirus in dogs and puppies is spread by contact with contaminated feces.
The virus is spread through direct contact with an infected dog. Because the virus is also heavily concentrated in the fecal matter of infected dogs, canines that come into contact with an infected dog's stool may contract the disease. Certain dog breeds such as Rottweilers, Doberman Pinschers, Pit Bulls, Labrador Retrievers, German Shepherds, and English Springer Spaniels are particularly vulnerable to the disease.
The virus can live on surfaces that have been contaminated, including the ground, kennels, people's hands, objects, or even clothing. Dogs can also carry parvovirus on their fur or paws, or if they've encountered contaminated material. Parvovirus in dogs is a highly contagious disease that spreads quickly and efficiently. There's an incubation period in which the dog is infected with parvovirus but not yet showing symptoms. Dr. Nelson says a dog with parvovirus will usually start to show symptoms within 3 to 7 days of infection.
Symptoms of the intestinal form of the disease include severe bloody diarrhea, lethargy, anorexia, fever, vomiting, and severe weight loss. The virus also affects the dog's ability to absorb nutrients, so infected dogs will quickly become dehydrated and weak. Rapid heartbeat, abdominal pain or discomfort, and low body temperature are also symptoms of canine parvovirus infection.
Fortunately, with prompt and aggressive medical intervention and care, Dr. Nelson says most puppies will survive parvovirus.
There is no cure for the virus, but veterinarians can treat symptoms of the infection. Hospitalization is often required, and treatments may include intravenous fluid and nutrition therapy, medications to curb vomiting, and antibiotics and antiviral medications. The survival rate of dogs diagnosed with canine parvovirus is about 70% with veterinary intervention. Puppies are more susceptible to death due to their less developed immune systems. Vaccinations against parvovirus are readily available, and puppies should be vaccinated at least 6, 9, and 12 weeks. High-risk breeds may require a longer initial vaccination period of up to 22 weeks. Dogs should not be socialized with unvaccinated or unfamiliar dogs until at least 2 weeks after their final vaccinations.
Dr. Kathy Nelson, veterinary expert at PetMed. That's it for Pets World. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
A black tie event. So what should I wear? Hi, I'm Tana, and these are your lifestyle pages. These should help you decide what to wear. So ladies, assess the location and choose your shoes accordingly. Don't be afraid to message your host for clarification. It's a black tie event, so don't be afraid to wear black. As for your hair, let it down and add a few curls. Or do an all-in-one with a messy bun. Do a light makeup, light lips, and eyes. As for jewelry, this all depends on your dress. And bear in mind, less is definitely more. Guys, we're not forgetting you. Tune in to Lifestyle Pages tomorrow to find out how you should dress for a black tie event. I'm Tana, and those were your Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore. Kingston or Bay. The temperature by National Supply is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Wednesday, June 11, 2025. We want our money. KCMC tells media houses to settle outstanding advertising fees. Integrity Commission cracks whip on 3 councillors at the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation. Health Minister says 27 hospital operating theatres will be built in the next 2 years. In international news, LA police conduct mass arrests after downtown curfew takes effect.
News at 7 is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KCMC, has issued formal letters to 9 media entities over outstanding fees linked to advertisements placed across the corporate area. Speaking at the corporation's monthly meeting on Tuesday, the Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, revealed that the Revenue Department is preparing to ramp up enforcement efforts.
Our most recent focus has been on media houses. Our Revenue Department has written to 9 such entities. 2 have since made payments, 1 have requested additional information, and the others have not even acknowledged receipt. Let me use this opportunity to remind the public of their company's obligation to pay the annual fee to the KCMC for display of signs and advertisement. For those who have not yet responded to our official communication, we will be taking further actions against you to ensure that the KCMC is paid what is owed to us. We are sending a strong signal to media houses who we believe should act with more responsibility and lead by example.
Mayor Swaby is reminding both the public and the media that failure to settle the debts constitutes a breach of the Town and Country Planning Act.
The law states that, and I quote, no person shall display any advertisement in, on, or over any land or buildings without prior approval of the local planning authority and the payment of the prescribed fees. End of quote. Therefore, if your signs, advertisement do not fall within the exemption under Section 5 of the Advertisement Regulation Act, you have an obligation to submit an application to the KCMC and to pay the requisite fees. These fees are non-transferable. They only apply to the individual or the businesses of whom the application was submitted.
Andrew Swaby, Kingston's Mayor. The Integrity Commission's Acting Director of Corruption Prosecution, Renif Lawrence, has ruled that 3 councillors attached to the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation be charged for failing to file their statutory declarations. The rulings were tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The councillors in question are the PNP's Vanrick Preddy from the Heltra Division, the JLP's Donovan Guy from the Twickenham Park Division, and the PNP's Dwight Burke, who represents the Sligoville Division. The report from the Director of Investigations found that the 3 breached Section 43 of the Integrity Commission Act by failing to file their statutory declarations within the stipulated time. Renif Lawrence agreed and subsequently ruled that they be charged. The Caribbean is projected to remain largely unaffected by global trade tensions. That's according to the latest Global Economic Prospects report published by the World Bank on Tuesday. However, the report anticipates average global growth will decline significantly, particularly in the United States. Mahira Stewart tells us more.
The World Bank blames rising trade barriers as the most significant inhibitor of global growth going forward. The multilateral says global growth is slowing due to a substantial rise in trade barriers and the pervasive effects of an uncertain global policy environment. The country anticipated to suffer the most will be Jamaica's largest trade partner and tourism source market, the United States. Growth in the United States is projected to fall by nearly half, moving from 2.3% to 1.4%. That's a 0.9-point downward revision compared to the World Bank's initial forecast in January. Global growth is also revised downwards from 2.8% into 2.3% for 2025. For Latin America and the Caribbean, regional growth is projected to hold steady at 2.3% this year, with most major economies outside the Caribbean showing little dynamism. The World Bank says all countries in the region face an increase in U.S. tariffs of 10%. It says some countries, notably Brazil and Jamaica, also have tariffs on U.S.-bound steel and aluminium exports. However, the World Bank says growth in the Caribbean economies is projected to remain solid, reflecting Guyana's continuing oil boom, with aggregate gross domestic product (GDP) expanding by 3.9% in 2025. Growth in the sub-region, excluding Guyana, will moderate to 3% in 2025. This is underpinned by tourism and other service activities. Jamaica's growth is projected to be more tepid at 1.7%. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Opposition spokesperson on social transformation and protection, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, is supporting a call for the appointment of an elderly advocate. She made the argument during her submission to the Special Select Committee of the Senate on Tuesday.
I would support, in addition to that, the elderly advocate, because that is the avenue through which you would get that legal support and to get that heightened protection of a very vulnerable group. And as was said, a lot of times the abuse that takes place is by family members, right? And so it's hard if you don't have an advocate to be able to walk with you in that process, because you're not going to want to report it. Because, you sit down there and you're just wondering how my picnic could have done me that after all I want me to do for them.
Duncan Sutherland says an elderly advocate would provide legal assistance required for the more vulnerable within the group. This would include serving as power of attorney in circumstances where there is no other family member.
I think that it should be given some powers with respect to the programmatic review, like an advisory council. In the Child Care and Protection Act, there's an advisory council that has oversight over the programs and how you execute, etc., etc. I think if they got that level of authority within the law, I don't think they have it now. I know that it exists, but I don't think, because we don't have a law that it would have oversight over. So if you have an Elderly Care Act that defines the rights and defines the duty of care of the state, of the family, of the caregiver, then in that context you could strengthen their ability to have that oversight, so it's not just a ministerial oversight.
Patricia Duncan Sutherland, opposition spokesperson on social transformation and protection, and she's also president of the PNP Women's Movement. Another submission to the committee is for the creation of a commission to continuously review the implementation of the Elderly Care Act. The proposal was made by aging expert Professor Denise Eldemar Scherer and a founder of the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, Jean Laurie Chin. Meanwhile, the Health and Wellness Minister, Dr. Chris Tufton, says the government is moving to expand its capacity to address the needs of Jamaica's aging population. Making his contribution to the sectoral debates on Tuesday, Dr. Tufton says the country must prepare to address what is a growing need for critical care among seniors.
The shift underscores the need to prepare for aging population, adapting societal structures including the workforce, health systems to address this evolving demographic landscape. And so from health's perspective, we are looking to the future. What do? We're preparing the health program for older persons plan, which seeks to maximize the period in which older persons maintain good health, wellness, and functional independence through the promotion of healthy aging through this life course approach. Building the capacity of at least 90% of healthcare practitioners in primary care to identify and manage healthcare needs in older adults and to provide allied health and rehabilitative services to older persons with complex health and disabilities needs.
Jamaica's population is aging, with the proportion of people aged 60 and over expected to increase significantly in the coming decades. This trend is driven by increased life expectancy and a decline in fertility rates. Another important aspect to be addressed is the specific needs of elderly women, such as menopause. Menopause describes the stage of a woman's life when her menstrual periods stop permanently and she can no longer get pregnant. Dr. Tufton says he has tasked Professor Denise Eldemar Scherer with developing a clinical response for this segment of a woman's life.
Menopause, we know, is neither a disease nor a disorder. Let me make that clear. However, it impacts the state of mind and the overall wellness of so many of our women, some of whom begin to experience symptoms as early as in their 30s. This is what the research says. There's also growing evidence that there should be a clinical response to this personal life stage experience. I've therefore asked a team headed by the Most Honorable Denise Eldemar Scherer to explore and establish a standard clinical response for this life stage. It is time to recognize, Mr. Speaker, that our women experiencing these symptoms should not be experiencing it on their own. They deserve support, particularly in the context of an older population for the future.
And the health minister says 27 operating theatres will be constructed over the next 2 years. He says the work, which has already begun, will serve to boost the country's ability to respond to the healthcare needs of citizens.
I'm also happy to announce, Mr. Speaker, that we see the need for additional operating theatre capacity. As a result, we are building out as we speak, and have built some already and more to come over the next year or so, 27 new operating theatres to add to the capacity of operating theatre. That's a 37% increase in new operating theatres over the next 2 years.
The health minister was making his contribution to the sectoral debate on Tuesday. He told the parliament where the new facilities will be located.
Cornwall Regional Hospital will have 11 new operating theatres. Spanish Town Hospital, which has 2, will have 5. St. Anne's Bay, 1 additional. Maypen, 1 additional. Western Child and Adolescent, 4. Shackleton, Noel Homes, National Chess and Lionel Town and Linstead Hospitals will get 1 or 1 additional. That's 27 over the next year and a half, Mr. Speaker. We will, as a government, improve our existing maintenance arrangements for operating theatres and add significant inventory, Mr. Speaker. That's why we need to stay the course.
Dr. Chris Tufton, the Minister of Health and Wellness. Labour rights in Northeast Manchester have reportedly extended a warm welcome to Senator Audrey Marks. Senator Marks, who the JLP is expected to name as a standard bearer in the constituency, attended an impromptu workers' meeting held in Christchurch, Christiana, on Tuesday afternoon.
This was very gratifying, just to see the openness. They spoke about their concerns, but more importantly, they expressed the optimism of us working together in the future, and they accepted the fact that I'm here to serve, and they have welcomed me into the constituency, and I'm deeply grateful for that.
Senator Marks was accompanied on Tuesday afternoon by members of the JLP leadership, including party leader Dr. Andrew Holness, General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang, and Deputy General Secretary Dr. Andrew Wheatley. Dr. Chang says Senator Marks' potential candidacy bodes well for the party's fortunes in the seat.
While it's a limited number of the leadership of the constituency, as the potential candidate, Ms. Ambassador was warmly received. In fact, she was more than warmly received. So it was very well received. In fact, I was impressed with the reception and the energy in the constituency, as most of them said when they conclude their own presentation, that we're ready. They are ready. I mentioned in my division, Craighead, Christian, and Wallace, we're ready. The workers are very motivated. Even the few you had here today from leadership, they are confident. And we will just pick the PNP pocket in Manchester. We will be taking back our seats, and we could pick the pocket in Manchester.
Dr. Horace Chang, JLP General Secretary. Transport Minister Daryl Vaz is estimating that it will take up to 3 years for the rural school bus service to reach full capacity. He says this will ensure the cost effectiveness of the program.
So, Mr. Speaker, we have 850 rural schools, of which the phase 1 of this program is going to serve 258 out of the 850. 30% of the school rural population will be served by these first 110 buses. And within 3 years, this policy will continue to roll out year after year to make sure that within 3 years we can get to all 850 schools at a very cost-effective price. The cost with everything for 1 year for these 110 buses is a little under $1.5 billion. Therefore, in 3 years, you're talking about $4.5 billion, which is, in the scheme of things, probably the best value for money that you can get in terms of transporting these children to school.
The rural school bus system is set to roll out in September. Students will pay a rate of $50 per trip. Minister Vaz says that the service will go a long way to easing the financial burden faced by the parents of rural-based students who suffer greatly in securing transportation to and from school.
Which 60 will be rolled out for September and the rest rolled out between September and January morning. Rural St. Andrew will have 7 buses serving 23 schools. St. Thomas will have 7 buses, 10 schools. St. Mary, 7 buses, 11 schools. Portland, 7 buses, 8 schools. St. Anne, 10 buses, 29 schools. 5 and 22 for Trelawney. 8 buses, 17 for St. James. 8 buses, 12 schools for Hanover. Westmoreland, 8 buses, 11 schools. Manchester, 7 buses, 25 schools. 7 buses for 25 schools, St. Elizabeth, and 10 buses for 36 schools, and 9 for Clarendon, serving 32 schools. 258 schools, 100 routes. That is just phase 1.
Of transport. An item of regional news now. In Trinidad and Tobago, the government is still awaiting news about the identity of a Trinidadian man allegedly under arrest and facing terrorism charges in Venezuela. Last Wednesday, Venezuela's justice minister told his nation that the Trinidadian, whom he identified as G. Kendall Geron, was involved in terrorist activities aimed at destabilizing Venezuela. TNT's foreign minister Sean Sobers told Guardian Media on Tuesday that he intends to send a third diplomatic note to the Venezuelan ambassador later on Wednesday, following the ambassador's failure to provide a response from officials in his home country. According to the minister, diplomatic notes were dispatched on June 3 and 4, inquiring about the named individual and others accused of joining paramilitaries to carry out a military incursion into Venezuela. To date, no response has been received to a one-page diplomatic note sent by TNT's embassy in Caracas on June 4 to Venezuela's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Further afield, police in Los Angeles say they've made mass arrests after a 5th day of protests over U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration raids. Mayor Karen Bass declared an overnight curfew within a relatively small area of the city's downtown district, saying businesses were being vandalized and looted. Elsewhere, the immigration raids that triggered the protests last Friday have continued, with deployed National Guard troops now protecting border control agents on enforcement operations. Trump's row with state officials ramped up after he deployed troops to LA. He has vowed to liberate the city, but has been accused by California Governor Gavin Newsom of an assault on democracy. On Tuesday, Trump defended his decision to send 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines, saying it was to prevent the city being conquered by a foreign enemy. These troops lack the authority to make arrests and have instead been tasked only with protecting federal property and personnel. That's the news.
News at 7 was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Oterius, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Sir Optimist International Jamaica Kingston presents Classics in June 2024. Sunday, June 16 at the Huey Chapel, starting at 5 p.m. Artists include Stephen Woodham, Yuko Aoki, and Rafael Salazar. Cost $3,500. Tickets available at Music Mart and all Monarch Pharmacy locations. Sponsors include Chase Fund, Kingston Freeport Terminal, Nationwide News Network, VM Group, and Vinci Construction.
More savings, more choices. Get active with Active Home Center. The one-stop shop for everything for your home. We have more savings, more choices, unbelievable prices. Wide selection with the latest style. The kitchen, bathroom, right down to the tile. Buy the hottest items on spot, don't miss out. Best options under one roof, no doubt. More savings, more choices.
Visit us in store or online at www.activehomecenter.com.
We have more savings, more choices.
Time over Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Yeah, morning, George. Yeah, it's now bright. To our listeners and motoring public office, morning time. It's now bright and sunny. We still have the clouds, and I understand there was a slight drizzle downtown, in the downtown area, in the vicinity of the market, but nothing to be alarmed about. But in the meantime, the traffic flow has increased as this time we call it the peak hour, along Spanish Town Road, coming from as far as 3 miles, going down towards Spanish Town Road, and from the Marcus Garvey end, which is also quite busy. And going over into Portmore, it's quite active in the George Lee Boulevard, Grayton Parkway, on the Port Henderson Road, and if you're on the I-95 heading out to the Mandela Highway, it's also active. The Dyke Road, all these roads are quite active as you make your way onto towards the Mandela Highway, and they're making it, whether you're going westbound on the Mandela or eastbound, which is as there a greater amount of traffic, and that takes it to 6 miles. What's happening up in the Red Hills area? Red Hills coming out the Footerville, you have some traffic there, and if you're on Perkins Boulevard, heading out towards Red Hills Road, it is also, there also has traffic, and if you're in the Meadowbrook area, coming off Meadowbrook Avenue onto Red Hills Road, definitely have traffic. Roehampton Drive onto Roehampton Close that takes you onto Manning Road. You also have some traffic on Manning Road. The traffic is streaming all the way down to connect with Conference Spring Road in the vicinity of what we call Mary Brown's Corner. Going around Charlton Avenue, you get onto Shortwood Road. Shortwood Road also has traffic towards Grandstand Road and Grandstand towards Barbican Road. That's where you're going to have the traffic. And as usual, Upper Waterloo, those areas have traffic. And now, over on the eastern side, your traffic is really in the vicinity of Harborview by the roundabout. But once you clear that, the Surf Plaza Glasspool Highway is pretty good. Movement in both directions, so you won't have a problem there. And Michael Manley Boulevard also streaming there. No problem as you make your way. But Winwood Road in both directions has traffic, eastbound, westbound, but it's no delays there again. The delay really is when you're going towards East Kings House, East Queen Street, heading into East Parade. So there you go. The traffic will be now, however, in many other areas as the intersections normally get busy at this time. So tomorrow morning, as usual, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, front page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. listeners, there's a question I just posed to Tana and the rest of the Nationwide News Group. We won't tell you what the question is, but Tana said her belly drop.
Listen.
I'm going to get out of belly.
Good one.
Anyway.
On the front page.
What a condition.
But on the front page this morning, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is estimating that it will take up to the next 3 years for the rural school bus service to reach full capacity. Minister Vaz says this will ensure the cost effectiveness of the program. The rural school bus system is set to roll out in September at a flat rate of $50 per trip for students. Minister Vaz says the service he describes as a game changer will go a long way to ease the burden faced by rural parents and students who suffer greatly in securing transport to and from school. And the Transport Minister joins us this morning on the front page. Darrell Vaz, good morning to you.
Morning to you. Morning to you, listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. To begin here, Minister Vaz, if you could talk to us about the timeline for the buses to arrive.
Okay, so we have gotten PPC approval and we've gotten cabinet approval. Got cabinet approval last week, Monday. Not yesterday, Monday, last week. So we are now in the process of getting the buses. The buses were located and we are getting them to Miami. And we should start shipping them out on the 20th, which is next week, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll probably take about 3 weeks based on the amount of buses and the capacity of the vessel to get them here. So I'm figuring by the first week of July, and of course immediately, obviously, the refurbishing and the retrofitting will start in order to get 60 of the buses out for September morning and the other 40 between September and December for January morning. There is a redundancy of 10 buses, so it's 110 buses in total, and those 10 will be kept back to be able to fill any voids or any gaps that may occur to make sure that we don't have any downtime on the routes. It's going to service 258 schools across the island out of approximately 850 schools. And as I said yesterday, this has been a model that we have been able to come up with and a template based on, obviously, cost and proven efficiency. These buses have been used in the United States and Canada from 1939. And as someone, I know definitely George is much younger than me. You started seeing them in movies even before you went to the United States, and so they're a fixture. Importantly, and this is very important, the average age of the bus is about 10 years old, and the mileage is anywhere between 60,000 and 150,000 miles. However, the life cycle of those Cummins engines, diesel engines, which are well known, are between 300,000 and 500,000 miles before any overhauling or anything is needed. The important thing is that based on the bus that I'm using in Portland now, we're estimating about 14,000 to 15,000 miles per year because of A, the bus only works in the morning and the evenings, and secondly, the school term in terms of summer and other holidays is about 7.5 months. So when you divide that, you will see that you have significant amount of years, in some cases up to 20 years, that those buses would be usable without any form of rehabilitation or refurbishing or engine rebuilding. So I want to put that out there because obviously there are some that are against the rural bus system for whatever reason, including political reasons, and they're finding every reason to speak ill of the proposal. The last thing I want to say is that the original plan, when I became minister in 2023, was to use the existing public passenger vehicles and investors and subsidize the fares to make sure that they got full fare and therefore they were equitable in terms of a differentiation between carrying students and carrying adults. I cannot blame them because the fact of the matter is that the students are paying a significant reduction in fares, both in Kingston, in the KMTR, and now in rural Jamaica. We are extending that, as you said earlier in your comments, to $50 per trip, regardless of where the length of the trip, because obviously each trip, depending on the geographics, will be longer. The one that I'm doing now from Buff Bay to Port Antonio is 19 kilometers. So I'm sure that you'll have routes in rural Jamaica that will be longer than that based on the mapping of the Ministry of Education. But the fact of the matter is that the cost that we came up with for the different models outside of, obviously, these school buses out of North America was between $8 and $20 billion a year, which was just absolutely unaffordable and unsustainable. So I want to make it clear that this does not go against existing public transport operators. This actually helps them because these buses in the first phase will only support about 30% of the rural population. And that's why I made a statement yesterday that in 3 years, including this year, we would be in a position to afford to roll out buses for the entire 850 rural schools across Jamaica. The cost of this, including the acquisition of the buses and all aspects of the servicing parts, maintenance, refurbishing, everything, is about $1.5 billion a year. And if you times that by 3, you're talking about $4.5 billion. Right now, as we speak, the school feeding program for the kids in rural Jamaica or across Jamaica is $8 billion per year. And the minister just announced an additional $1 billion because they're going to include breakfast. So $9 billion a year is what is being spent on nutrition for students when they get to school. The big point and the big gap and the big void is how do they get to school to be able to enjoy and have that meal and learn. And obviously, it is value for money. And I say without contradiction that this is the most transformational policy that has been implemented or is going to be implemented since independence. And it's not because it's my ministry and I am the minister. This is a game changer in every way, shape, and form.
Minister, hold it right there. We're going to take a break and come back with the Transport Minister, Darrell Vaz, speaking about the rural school bus service that is set to be rolled out in September.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
7:33.
Fix up with Fleetwood products for your home improvement, personal care, and aromatherapy needs. They have your well-being in mind. Available at retailers island-wide. The temperature by Fleetwood Jamaica is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Guilty. Outperform, outlast. Guilty. With top performance. Guilty. Jackhammer. Reliable. Full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton. Available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected. Kingston Wharves Limited urges the public to be on the lookout for unscrupulous persons using the names of company officials to defraud unsuspecting persons under the guise of selling motor vehicles and other equipment. Kingston Wharves does not sell motor vehicles, neither does the company conduct auctions. If you encounter any such persons, report the matter to the police.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're tuned into the front page, having a conversation with the Transport Minister, Darrell Vaz, in relation to the rural school bus service set to roll out in September. Before the break, the minister was giving us some timelines as to when those buses will arrive. He says by about the first week of July, the buses should be in Jamaica and then afterwards retrofitted to meet September morning for the beginning of the new school term. Minister Vaz, in relation now to the parents and students who will be benefiting from the service, them getting their cards and be able to put money onto those cards to pay their fares come September. When will that service roll out?
That is being done in terms of the refurbishing of the buses. All of the technological aspects will be added to the bus. And I'm happy you asked that because I want to just give an overview. It's not just about the bus and the bus taking the children to school. It's about the safety and everything else that goes with it. So these buses are going to have driver monitoring systems. First of all, the drivers are going to be vetted and trained by the JUTC and cleared by the police through the NIB. So we're going to make sure that all the drivers, are not only capable, but that they are of the standing that we can entrust them to drive our children. So we're going to have a driver monitoring system to monitor the driver. We're going to have CCTV. We're going to have a dispatch management. We're going to have geofencing of the routes to make sure that we can know whether the routes are being held to. We're going to have speed control to make sure that the buses cannot go past a certain speed. Obviously, the technology will have mechanical alerts if there's any issue with the bus engine, maintenance management system, parental control portal, tracking, and of course, obviously, the Ministry of Education will make sure that the route planning is efficient. So what does this mean? It means that the kids or the parents can top up the cards that will be issued by the schools to the students, both on their phone and at the other payment services that are offered, similar to cellular phone. The kids will swipe the cards on entering and also on leaving the bus. Therefore, the parents will be able to know when the kids board the bus and when they leave the bus. The schools obviously will have, along with JUTC and the Ministry of Education, the schools themselves will have access to a lot of the technology that is on the bus, keeping with data protection, obviously. And basically, what we will be in a position to do is to monitor not only the kids, but also the driver and the actual bus itself. There are going to be 3 different sizes of buses. There's going to be 45-seaters, 54-seaters, and 72-seaters. And that's basically to make sure that the geographics are met, because some of the bigger buses will not be able to navigate certain terrains. So we have 3 different sizes of bus, and the Ministry of Education has given us that information. Most importantly, and this is where I think it will have the biggest impact, is, as we said before, the cost. So it costs a parent in rural Jamaica between $300 to $600 a day for one student to go to school and come back, and in some cases more. You're talking about now $100 per day, 50 going, 50 coming. That is a savings of approximately 180,000 Jamaican dollars per student in rural Jamaica for the parent. Some parents have more, and most have more than one child. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can imagine the multiplier effect. And I know as a rural MP that many a times parents have to make a judgment call out of their children as to which one they think has the best chance of success, and gamble on that by investing all of their money in one student, and the rest of students or the rest of kids at home have to go to the farm, have to go work with them, go to the market, go wherever and try and make a life for themselves.
Minister,
but this,
someone just sent me a message to say, ask the minister, let me read verbatim. Jim, could you ask the minister if these buses have air conditioning? The effect of global warming makes this option no longer a luxury feature, says one of our listeners.
Some of them do, because they're coming from different states, but what they do have is windows that open, all of the windows slide open. So the truth of the matter is that not all of them will have AC, but some do.
Yeah.
But the one that I have in Portland does not have AC, and I can tell you that it is actually there's no complaints in relation to that.
Yes.
Because obviously. So that's a very good question.
Yeah.
And in the future, because this is a emergency situation, when we have time to plan for next year's acquisition,
yes,
we will definitely include that and make sure that we get that. But because of different states,
yes,
some have, some don't have.
Some quick questions before the time runs out on us, Minister. All right, so I heard you say that rolled into the cost for the buses is parts and repair and refurbishment. I want to ask about given that so many of these buses are coming, the maintenance capacity that the JUTC has right now, there will be a significant, I don't want to say burden, but the responsibility would have expanded significantly. Do you have the personnel in place to work on these school buses inevitably when they need attention?
Excellent question. So when I became minister and I assessed the existing situation with the existing buses and saw the condition of the existing buses in the fleet at JUTC. And by the way, I have 100 buses arriving, 63 arriving on Sunday, and the balance arriving on July 9th. So my commitment for the 100 JUTC buses, the second 100, will be in place for September morning. But let's continue this.
Yes.
So what I saw with that, George, was that JUTC was not maintaining the buses at the standard that was needed. So all of the new acquisitions that I have made include a maintenance contract by the manufacturer's dealer in Jamaica, overseen by the JUTC. So I've taken the maintenance out from the JUTC and given it to the manufacturer's representative on a 3-year contract, while they obviously transfer knowledge, train our mechanics and our engineers, because first of all, it was CNG buses that I was buying, new technology.
Yes.
And in this case of the used buses, the supplier of the used buses will have that contract and have oversight by the JUTC. But very important, all of these buses that I'm buying had a strict maintenance schedule in the United States of America that was overseen by the Department of Transport. And we're going to adopt that same maintenance to make sure that the buses remain on the schedule. So we will do that. We will not bring the buses back to Kingston. We will set up arrangements, or the dealer supplier will set up arrangements throughout Jamaica and make sure that JUTC has oversight, and we make sure that the schedule that has been agreed to is met and the scope of work is carried out.
The other one is this. Hearing you speak about how much is rolled into this process with the new buses and the need for surveillance, monitoring, of course, ensuring that the schedule is kept to ensure that the drivers operate as per stipulation. doesn't there have to be then a rural school bus administration system staffed by professionals, whether you have them in the ministry and the departments are ready to redeploy, or you're gonna have to take on new people, because this has to have a coordinated management structure for it to work the way you've told Parliament it should work.
That is already in place between the Ministry of Education and the JUTC and the Ministry of Transport, and the regional offices of the Ministry of Education will play a key role in that. And let me just say before the question is asked, the buses will be on the school premises at specific locations to be able to move out in the morning. So the buses will not come back to one central location. They will go to the school that they will leave from in the morning to go out on the routes. And basically what we will do, obviously, we will have provisions in there through JUTC for fueling. And as I said, for maintenance, we will have that. And of course, the routes will be decided on and given to JUTC by the Ministry of Education.
Stay with me on the administration bit, because I'm anticipating a parent or few or even a school principal making a call to find out something regarding the movement of a bus or scheduling or something. Is there somebody for them to call? Will there be somebody for them to call?
That's correct. There will be specific functions, and those will be delegated either through the Ministry of Education, the principals of the schools, or the JUTC, depending on what the issue is. So there will be, and as I said before, the Ministry of Education and the schools that will be served will have access to information real time based on the access to the technology.
Richard Troop told me elsewhere, Minister, that the way the system will work, and I just wanted to confirm, is that a principal where a bus, of course, rests in between trips or on school mornings, that the principal will be able to track the movement of the bus, looking at an app, looking at some application on their phone or some other technological aid. Is that so?
That's correct. That's correct. So as I said before, it's very well thought out in terms of what we need as a government to know to protect our children, and also in terms of safety and security. So even the very driver will be monitored, and if the driver swerves off the route or comes off the route, or he's distracted talking to students or whatever while he's driving, it will pick it up and send a flag.
Last one before we go. So you say that these buses will be used during school hours and used during the school terms.
Specifically for students.
Yeah, for students, right. Will the buses be available for charter by schools who say they want to go to Champs or they want to go to some big event at the stadium, at the arena, outside of school time? Will the buses be available for rental, for excursions and all of that?
So JUTC already has a division that deals with that. As a matter of fact, out of the 100 buses that are coming, 30 coach buses are coming, diesel coach, that usually do those excursions for churches, schools, etc. In terms of the school and the use of the buses outside of thing there, if it is school related, I'm sure that it will be considered by the Ministry of Education, but I would not want to have those school buses doing anything outside of school activities. And it's very important. Prime Minister made it very clear in his budget speech, and I want to reiterate it, that the school buses are an extension of the school. So whatever the rules are at the school, is the same rules on the bus. So you can have disciplinary actions taken by virtue of actions that are taken on the bus. So it's well thought out, and it's not because it's my ministry and I'm leading it.
Yeah. But
Richard Troop has done a fantastic job, and the synergy between the Ministry of Transport and Education and the PSs. It's just unbelievable. We'll have signage along the routes to know students know exactly where they are to stay, where they are to stand, and wait, because the buses will pick up children along the route.
What power, Minister, will the principal have on the time the bus moves? Is that power vested in the principal, or is it from the administrator of the system?
we work with both the schools and the administrators. Just to indicate that based on the experience of the bus in Portland, we were doing 2 trips in the mornings, and we were concluding the second trip getting to the school at 8:20 when school starts at 8. So there's tweaking that has to be done, but you have to do it within reason. I can't ask a student to be at the bus stop at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. You understand what I'm saying? It has to be done within reason. So that's being dealt with between the schools and the Ministry of Education regional office, and of course the JUTC.
Hear you this morning.
And finally, Minister, the hiring process, how is that going?
We've already advertised, and what we're trying to do is to get drivers from the parishes that the buses are going to work from, so that it's easier in terms of them getting to work and getting back. And obviously, if we put drivers from outside of Kingston and the KMTR, then obviously it increases because we have to give them subsistence and all of that. So we're trying as best as possible to get drivers from within the parishes where the buses are going to work to make it that much easier. And that process is ongoing as we speak, and I'm hoping that a second round of ads will go out this week, and hopefully we'll be able to get the sufficient amount of drivers. But if not, we will have to, in the meantime, work something for September morning. So let me just say, in closing, that the cry when the kids go to a bus stop or a taxi stand to get a transportation in rural Jamaica, the first thing that they hear is no schoolers, no schoolers. That is a cry from the conductors and everybody else. They don't want the schoolers. September morning, that is going to change. And what they're going to hear from the bus driver of the school bus is schoolers only. So that's the transformative change that I'm telling you about. You just imagine what it must feel like for a child to want to go to school, and the first thing he hears after he does all sorts of gymnastics to get to the bus stop or the taxi stand, to be told by an adult, no schoolers, no schoolers. And if they do take the schoolers, it is last resort, and they pack them up like sardines in the trunk, hanging out of the cars, sitting on adults' laps, young females sitting on adults' laps, which you can imagine. And it is just absolutely unacceptable and has been unacceptable for decades. And as I said before, I'm going to make another call again, because the utterances that I'm hearing from the opposition, I'm not liking. Leave the politics out of the children's business. This is not partisan. This is going to help every rural parent to be able to send their children to school in a safe, economical, convenient methodology.
We have to leave it there. Daryl Vaz, the Minister of Transport.
And we will roll this out for the 3 years. So when I return after the next event, my commitment on behalf of this government, I can't speak for the other one, is that this will be done in 3 years, including this year, so 2 more years, for 850 rural schools. That is the commitment of Daryl Wesley Philip Vaz.
The Minister of Transport, we have to leave it there. Transport Minister talking to us this morning about the rural school bus service to be rolled out in September. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Gonna take a break and come back with more on NTM.
Bird fried chicken always ready. Original crispy. Bird shock, Cajun spicy. Bird shock, a barbecue. Bird shock, we have our bird shock.
The time brought to you by Birchak Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay and Ocho Rios is
7:53.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Yo, genius! Me just get the Burger King Double King combo. One original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Junior with cheese. Well, 2 sandwiches enough. Plus a small fries and soda for only $1,300.
You use the new rubber money. You did say the money can stretch a Burger King.
Me mean you get more food for your money. One combo, 2 sandwiches.
So you want I got eat all of 2 sandwich, brother? My belly can stretch, you know.
Get the BK Double King combo. Limited time only at Burger King.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
$7:55 on the clock. Time now to turn to remarks made by the Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Dr. Nigel Clark. Remember him? He says a significant slowdown in productivity growth accounts for more than half of the decline in global growth. He was speaking at the 55th annual meeting of the Caribbean Development Bank held in Brazil on Tuesday. Dr. Clark says uncertainty coupled with already weak economic prospects make for a challenging growth backdrop.
Global growth prospects were already underwhelming even before the April tariff announcements. And looking over the medium term, these global growth prospects, as I mentioned earlier, remain at their lowest level in decades. Now, what is driving this? Our analysis shows that a significant and broad-based slowdown globally in productivity growth accounts for more than a half of the decline in global growth. This is partly because global labor and capital have not been flowing to the most dynamic firms in all parts of the world. Lower private investment after the global financial crisis and slower working age population growth in some major economies have exacerbated the problem. Our studies show that without a course correction, global growth rates by the end of this decade would be below the pre-pandemic average by about 1 full percentage point. Simply put, new uncertainties on top of already weak economic prospects make for a very challenging growth backdrop. It is not surprising then that most Caribbean countries also face a challenging economic outlook. In our latest World Economic Outlook, published earlier this year, we already projected tepid growth in the Caribbean region overall, even before accounting for the U.S. tariff and trade policy adjustments. Stronger performance in some countries, such as Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, was offset by slower growth in others. And in several countries, crime weighs heavily on growth prospects, particularly in Haiti, where the security situation hampers efforts to sustain economic activity, implement reforms, and attract aid and foreign direct investment. On top of that, we estimated that the April tariff announcement and its global spillovers would lower Caribbean growth further by at least 0.2 percentage points on average. But the impact varies across countries. In tourism-dependent economies, where growth is closely tied to U.S. economic activity, the impact will mainly depend on the size of the U.S. tourist base. In oil exporting countries, lower commodity prices and higher volatility are the main channels of transmission. Lower global growth means lower demand for these commodities, which adversely impacts the economies of commodity exporting countries. Slower growth, while a relatively recent phenomenon from a global perspective, is unfortunately not new to the Caribbean region. Declining growth trends in the Caribbean region have loomed over the longer horizon as well. Recent IMF analysis shows that most Caribbean countries had significantly slower growth over the last 2 decades, that is 2001 to 2023, as compared with the previous 2 decades, 1980 to 2000. And on this slide, we have many of the countries of the Caribbean region, and what you see is that for most countries, apart from 3, growth over the last 20 years has fallen quite a bit short of growth over the previous 20 years. It's a common story of a declining growth rate across the Caribbean region.
That's Dr. Nigel Clark, Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, speaking at a recent meeting of the Caribbean Development Bank, the 55th annual meeting held in Brazil on Tuesday. We break for Across Jamaica. Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:01.
Success, powered by learning. The temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us, is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's Across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica, the JIS is reporting that the mayor of Savannah Lamar, Councillor Danry Delancey, says Westmoreland is prepared for the hurricane season, which began on June 1. In an interview with JIS News, the mayor pointed out that hurricane preparedness activities in the parish began in March. He says that a light preparation started from that time and continues up to the present. He says most of the shelters have been inspected and marked for use during emergencies to ensure the public has safe and accessible spaces just in case there's a disaster and persons must be relocated to these shelters. Councillor Delancey says that the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation has initiated a comprehensive educational and awareness campaign aimed at enlightening the local population. Jamaican scientist and cancer researcher Dr. Simone Badal is the 2025 Science and Technology Laureate of the Anthony S. Sagga Caribbean Awards for Excellence. Dr. Badal is a senior lecturer in the Department of Basic Medical Sciences at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. She was honored for groundbreaking work in developing Caribbean-specific cancer cell lines. Dr. Badal's research led to the creation of ACRJ-PC28, the first prostate cancer cell line derived from a Caribbean man. It addresses the long-standing gap in global cancer research where models have historically centered on Caucasian populations. Dr. Badal has more than 45 peer-reviewed publications and over $1 million in research funding. She's the author of the 2023 memoir, No Cell Left Behind. The Caribbean Awards for Excellence were held at the Hyatt Regency, Trinidad, on Saturday. That's it for Across Jamaica.
the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
You've led teams, built businesses, and influenced change. Now, lead research that transforms your field. Apply now for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean's Doctor of Business Administration or Doctor of Professional Practice. Flexible, research-based, and designed for working professionals. All UCC programs are accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Learn more and apply online at ucc.edu.jm. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Fit Nation is brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
You want a hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis, look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fancy, live in a big mansion, party in France. You better work. You better work. You better work. You better work. Look at you work. Look at you work. Ring it up. Don't stop now, just be the champion. Working hard like it's your breakfast show. Watch out now, 'cause here it comes. Here comes the special. Here comes the master. Here comes the big beat. Big beat to blast y'all. No time to push now. Just time to get it down. Pick up what I'm putting down. Pick up what I'm putting down. You want a hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini?
Fit Nation time here on this Wednesday morning, Wednesday, June 11, 2025. Everyone's a Winner is a signature initiative of Running Events Jamaica, first launched in 2010 to promote health, family, and community through a fun, inclusive road race experience. Held annually, Father's Day at Hope Gardens, the event welcomes participants to walk or run in 3K or 5K events. It's a competition, it's a race. Since 2012, the Best Dressed Chicken has supported the race as a title sponsor, helping to grow its impact and reach. And over the years, proceeds have gone towards several charities, with the Jamaican Society for the Blind a key beneficiary, receiving funding for scholarships, digital tools for blind students. And this year, there's something special that is in the offing. To tell us about that, we're being joined by Ariel Oliver. She is brand manager, Best Dressed Chicken. She's talking about that everyone's a winner. Run, walk, set for Father's Day at Hope Gardens. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning. How are you?
I am very good. And is it well with you?
All is well, especially since we're talking about our road race on Sunday.
Yes, indeed. All right, before we even go to Sunday's event, just a little reflective. How well have things gone over the years in the time that Best Dressed Chicken has associated itself with this event?
Well, I think over the years that the race has grown year on year, and it has become a staple event that persons look forward to. It is a Father's Day event that persons really come out to, and they bring on the whole entire family for that. So it's our day, Father's Day. We own it, and all the families come out to celebrate their dads, and it's really something spectacular to see. You see daddy, you see grandpa, you see the kids come out. Trust me, it's an amazing thing. And it's one of those road races where persons don't want to go home afterwards because the vibe and the energy is so nice, because it's at Hope Gardens. It's a beautiful backdrop for you to go have some fun and then come back and enjoy some delicious food courtesy of the Best Dressed Chicken.
Oh yes. What do events like this, like this one, events such as this one, what do they do for the brand Best Dressed Chicken, Ariel?
We are a family brand, and we take pride in that. We make products that everyone in the family can enjoy. There is something that absolutely everyone, that caters to everyone. So if you want your chicken for your Sunday dinner, you want your nuggets, your tenders, your wings, mixed past, everything. And so no matter the place, no matter the occasion, Best Dressed Chicken is there for you to bring delicious food and, of course, to support you in celebrating the good times. So for an event like our Father's Day race, it's the embodiment of all of that. The whole entire family comes out. It's good fun. You're out there supporting and you're doing something for our cause. It's for charity. It's a great way for us to actively give back to the community in a very meaningful and tangible way and get everyone involved in doing it. So you can feel good that you're doing something for yourself. It promotes health and fitness, which we are, of course, advocates for. And you're having fun.
Yes.
So what better way to celebrate Father's Day?
Yes, indeed. We understand that the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is lending a hand where monitoring and management of funds raised is concerned. To tell me a little bit more about their role and involvement this year.
So the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, they have come on board in a very meaningful and impactful way to amplify the reach of the results of this year's event. And as you said, they will manage and monitor all the funds. So they have done through a formal memorandum of understanding, they will ensure that every dollar earmarked for the life-changing cataract service is tracked and is used responsibly. So the Jamaica Society for the Blind, they are the beneficiary this year. And so we want to ensure that all of the funds, it's managed properly and it will go towards the intended cause, which is for the cataract surgeries, because we are in the business of preserving sight. So that is the goal, and that is what the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is there for, to support this year.
Excellent. All right. So where can we do the registration for the run walk, and what is the cover? I won't even say cost or charge. What's the cover for registering for the events on Sunday?
You're right. What's the cover? To come out and have some fun.
Yes.
Well, the cover is $3,000 per person. With that, you get your race shirt and you get a medal and you get your bib, of course. Everything tracked by Running Events. They are the masters at this. And you can go to runningevents.ja.com to register. Registration closes today, actually. So please go on out to register, bring out everybody, and then you can go ahead and collect all of your gear before the event on Sunday. The warm-up starts at 6 a.m. Race starts promptly at 6:30 a.m. at Hope Gardens. And we are going to do the awards and the prizes somewhere around 8 o'clock. So, with the stage is set for us to have an amazing time. Excellent.
And with the fathers coming out and the grandfathers, tell them to walk with the tiger balm and the ointment.
Yes. And as I said, it's a family event. So yes, it's a 5K, but we also have a 3K component as well. So for the parents who want to run with the kiddies, or if you want to bring out the grandparents and you want to do a shorter route, we have that option available for you. And then we have some persons from the Jamaica Society for the Blind who will be walking and running as well.
Yes.
So it will be a truly all-inclusive, amazing race day.
And did you make the point, Ariel, that cataract surgeries are going to be part of the range of benefits that Best Dressed Chicken will help to provide for our people through the Jamaica Society for the Blind this year?
Yes, so all the funds raised from this event will go towards the cataract surgeries that is needed for the persons from the Jamaica Society of the Blind. So, these things the surgeries are quite expensive.
Yes.
So this will help to offset some of those costs and to help some persons in need. So come on out. It's a great way for you to give back, and you can see where your money is going towards.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time this morning, Ariel. I hope it goes very well, and I hope that Best Dressed Chicken continues to extract maximum value and to bring huge benefits to those who are on the receiving end of all the work that goes into an event like this.
Thank you so much. And again, today's the last day to register, so go to runningeventsja.com to register, and you can stay tuned to our pages at Best Dress JA on Instagram and Facebook to stay tuned and come on out on Sunday. We look forward to hosting you.
Excellent. All the best. Ariel Oliver there. She is the brand manager at Best Dressed Chicken. Everyone's a winner. Run, walk. Sunday, 3K or 5K. You can walk or you can run at Hope Gardens. It's going to be fab.
Fit Nation was brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
Apply for your NHD refunds at nhd.gov.jm or via the NHD app. Do not click on any links offering to help you. The time by the NHD is
8:15.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Horton's RX, the caring pharmacy, the Yes We Can pharmacy, the Yes It's in Stock pharmacy, the House Call Delivery pharmacy, the RX Pack mobile app pharmacy, the RX Plus digital wallet pharmacy, the 20% reward pharmacy, the easy to remember number pharmacy, 876 RX0 RX, the easy access 24/7 pharmacy, Horton's RX, the convenient pharmacy, #wellness, #simply delivered.
Kingston Wharves Limited urges the public to be on the lookout for unscrupulous persons using the names of company officials to defraud unsuspecting persons under the guise of selling motor vehicles and other equipment. Kingston Wharves does not sell motor vehicles, neither does the company conduct auctions. If you encounter any such persons, report the matter to the police.
Just before our next segment, our guests are waiting, but also on the line with us this morning, Khaleesa Wright, our reporter who's down there in Old Harbour in St. Catherine. Khaleesa, good morning to you.
Good morning, George. Good morning, listeners.
What's happening where you are?
Okay, so I'm here in Old Harbour Square in St. Catherine, and we're observing the second protest of the People's National Party dubbed Rescue Jamaica. They are protesting for good governance and institutional integrity. About a week ago, they were at Hero Circle in Kingston. And so far, comrades are streaming in. The size of the group is growing by the minute. When I just got here, it wasn't a large group as yet, but now I can say that has changed. Some party officials, representatives from the leadership of the party, they're now coming in. And so we're just here observing. There's also high security presence here as they are located. Supporters and party officials, they're located directly beside the Old Harbour Police Station.
Yeah, from where you are in the square at the station, Khaleesa, that would be about 400, maybe about 450 meters up the road, down the road from where Everald Warmington's constituency office is. I say that to ask, do you see any Labour Party people in green gathering in anywhere near the vicinity of the protest, or just the comrades in the space?
No, I'm not seeing that as yet. Only the comrades in the space at this time.
All right. Well, thanks for the update. Any leader, any identifiable official from the PNP with the crowd just yet?
Yes, I would have seen Peter Bunting earlier, and I would have also seen Julian Robinson just now.
Any sign of the man that the PNP are sending up against Everald Warmington, Dr. Kurt Wall? Any sign of him, the councillor for the Old Harbour South Division?
I'm not seeing Dr. Wall as yet.
Okay. All right. We'll check back in with you later on this morning. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Khaleesa Wright out there for us on the streets. She's in Old Harbour, PNP protesting against what they say is protesting for good governance, saying the JLP practicing bad governance, and of course the Dennis Chung issue front and center of why they are on the road. Do we break, Michelle, and go to the next? It's just
we take on the next segment.
Yes.
All right. So turning our attention now to the Kingston YMCA. The Kingston YMCA is celebrating 105 years of the community development work in Jamaica. As part of these celebrations, the association will be hosting a week of activities, which includes a banquet dinner dance at the Summit Kingston. For more on the work of the Kingston YMCA and activities to celebrate their 105th anniversary, we're being joined by the board member at the Kingston YMCA, one of the board members at the Kingston YMCA, Headley Campbell. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, Headley, so let's begin here. If you could talk to us about the work of the Kingston YMCA.
Okay, as you mentioned, we're celebrating 105 years. And for Jamaica, most of Jamaica knows as that little place at the corner of Hope Road and Trafalgar Road with a swimming pool. But most of our work is done in underserved communities. And we are now trying to see if we can get back to that COVID is somewhat behind us. So what we do is we go into these communities and we provide guidance. And as you know, we have the triangle where we support spirit, mind, and body. And so we go in, we provide educational services. Currently, we have a school on the YMCA premises that takes care of the underserved boys. We try to get them back into traditional schools, and if they cannot make it, then we are teaching them trades, so when they leave, at least they can make a living.
And talk to us about some of the other programs offered by the association.
In the development of the body part of it, we have swimming for all ages, from toddlers on to retirees. We have water aerobics for those of us who need exercise that is not too rough on our muscles. We have a boxing program that we have just started.
Yes.
We have martial arts. We have badminton, and we are reintroducing table tennis.
And those are the activities set for the summer, or the YMCA will be adding other activities to the calendar?
Yeah, those are activities being added to the calendar. For the summer, we have those activities, plus we have our normal summer camp where we try to help out the parents since they have to go to work and these kids are now off from school. So we have summer camp where we'll be running it for 2 months.
Wow. So it begins in July and goes up until the start of the school year.
End of August.
Okay, gotcha. So for persons out there, Headley, they're listening. The YMCA has been around for a long time, but they're not familiar with how they can get involved, they can participate in the activities. How do they go about that?
All right. Right now, we're looking as much help as we can get. So one, you could just come to Hope Road and sign up to be a member, or you can come to Hope Road and say, hey, I have a skill that I think other members of society might want to learn, so I would like to volunteer to help you. Because I know that a lot of us want to help, but we think it's only monetary. Sometimes the time you give is worth more than the money.
Yes, and for those who would benefit from those services, from those skills, they want to come on to the YMCA and, learn how to swim, boxing, martial arts, all of the activities that you're mentioning. Do they just show up, or is that they have to sign up ahead of time? How is that done?
You just show up at the YMCA and ask for a membership form. You complete the membership form and you sign up for whatever activity you'd like to do. There's a schedule there that gives you the days those activities are offered and the times, and you take whichever is most convenient for you.
Okay. And it's interesting that it's not just about the young people, but you're also saying members of the elderly population can also come on over to the YMCA and participate in activities too.
We have not changed our name, although we have changed the complement of people we serve.
Yes.
We started out as the YMCA, which meant only males, and then we became a family Y, and the family Y includes anybody at any age.
Now, celebrating 105 years. Talk to us, Headley, about the activities to celebrate this big milestone, this anniversary.
All right. We started out with a church service at the Linda's Methodist Church on Sunday. And we finishing it on Saturday with a banquet at the summit under the patronage of the Governor General. Today we have an open day where we're hoping to showcase those activities I just mentioned, including showing some of the works of the boys from the school, including barbering and welding and knitting. This evening we're having a best of the best table tennis tournament. And we are hoping that we'll also have some of the masters playing, those guys who most of us are aware played for Jamaica some years ago. Tomorrow we're having a lime where we're expecting most of our overseas people to be here. So we're just get together and catch up. But Friday is the day that I would invite everyone to attend the YMCA because we're having a family fun evening. We're having badminton tournament, but we're also having other games and we're having refreshments and just meet and greet anyone who comes on our premises.
And this is free to the public. Do we have to pay an entry fee?
The entry fee is your time. Just come on in, come with a smile, and come learn about YMCA. No money necessary.
Wonderful. What about the banquet dinner and dance at the Summit Kingston?
Okay, that starts at 7:30 on Saturday, and we have the place until 2 o'clock. So if you're in a dancing mood, you can stay and dance. Beer Essential Band will be performing for us. The cost is 13,500 Jamaican, and for those of you who have access to US dollars, it's $90 US. And we intend to have a grand time.
And where do persons get tickets?
You can get tickets at the gate or you can get tickets at the YMCA. We would prefer if you come to the YMCA and get tickets because then that also allows us to meet you.
Exactly. So it's you said it's a 13,000.
13,000.
We just lost it. But you said 13,500.
Yes, 13,500 Jamaican.
Okay, so 13,500 JMD or $90 US. For persons out there, you're interested in attending the banquet dinner dance at the Summit Kingston that the Kingston YMCA is putting on for this Saturday. Any other information, Headley, that you think persons out there might be interested in about the Kingston YMCA as you celebrate 105 years of community development work that you want to bring to the people?
Right now, we are meeting, strategizing to see how we can get back out there into the communities. And we have not yet identified the communities that we want to start with, but we're definitely going out there this year, back into the communities where we believe our work is best done.
Headley Campbell, a board member at the Kingston YMCA, talking to us this morning about their anniversary celebrations that kicked off with a church service, all the activities set to take place this week, and at the end of the week, on the weekend there, a banquet dinner dance at the Summit in Kingston. And sure, if you can, you participate in the activities on Friday at their location and on Saturday again at the Summit. And then afterwards, if it is that you want to donate to the Kingston YMCA to help it in doing its work, you can definitely reach out to them. Headley Campbell, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, but just before I go, might I say thank you to Nationwide. You have been a partner to us in trying to provide information to the Jamaica public, so thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Headley. You have a good day now.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Gonna take a break and come back with more on Nationwide this morning.
The time by Grace Good Move is
8:28.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
It's the new Jamaica Police Force. We're embedding quality service delivery into the police training to ensure respectful and professional interaction with the public at all times. We have redesigned police stations to be more welcoming, featuring reception areas instead of guard rooms, private interview rooms so domestic calls can be interviewed separately. All this is part of the evolution of a strong force for good, shaped by the sound policy of the government, backed by the government's financing of critical power, and guided by the visionary leadership within the force and the Ministry of National Security.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. It's now time for All Things Real Estate. This morning on All Things Real Estate, part 2 on state of the real estate market. I'm being joined by CEO of Hickey Grand Property Masters, Dennis Hickey. Good morning to you, Dennis.
Morning, Donna. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Just up and about, stuck in a little traffic, but, you know, that's life.
Yeah, that is life indeed. Hope you make it to where you're heading soon. So
I
first...
I was actually heading to you.
Oh, you were? You get stuck?
Yes.
But thank God for phones, right?
Absolutely.
So first of all, Dennis, if you could talk to us about the state of the market.
Yeah, Donna, the market is doing some things. And you know, what's interesting is that if the market can be segmented into price points, right? The developers at the higher end and most of the condo apartment market are struggling with the higher prices. People, I had a developer tell me they are just 2 days ago, listen, if you can get me $5 million less, take it. I have to get out of this. But the market at the lower price points, 30 million, 32 million. The demand is so high, yet there's a problem with supplies. And then you get into another category below that, where the large developers of mass housing are doing well, because demand is far outstrip supply, so there's no issues. So the question arises, how are we going to fill that gap?
Right.
At the lower price point? And perhaps this is where government has to now step in. Government has all the land. Government has control of the approval process, the infrastructure. How are we going to bridge the gap at that level, which is where the housing crisis is likely to occur? And I believe that we do have a problem. We have a problem in the market. We're not supplying enough where most people can afford it, and yet private developers continue to supply at the price points where people are resisting. The market is slowing down. So it's something to discuss, and I don't have all the answers, but the observation is there. The question now is what's going to happen. Investors perhaps are sitting back and waiting for that higher segment to get soft. Perhaps institutional investors will step in and buy those. We're likely to see a bit more foreclosures, but and yet we're not supplying enough at the lower levels. Investors, the developers claim that at the lower price levels they're not making enough margin. But those who choose to go into the higher margin segment are now seeing the slowdown. Then we have a problem with so many people wanting to live in the cities and metropolitan areas where we don't have enough land space to supply at cheaper prices. So we need to be watching this market, watching the space to see how things play out, and saying to investors, if you have some money, sit tight, because there's a lot of time, but it's likely that properties may hit the market, and for those who are savvy investors, I would advise sit tight, wait, and see if you can't, buy up some of these properties.
And what about, Dennis, developers or investors moving out of the city areas or areas close to major towns, moving out of those areas and building elsewhere because the better roads can take them there?
Yes, so we have to. I think we have to educate the market. I say to clients all the time, listen, I may not earn a commission of your purchase in Portmore or its environment, St. Catherine, because of who's developing and they're not using agents. But for heaven's sake, look at going to those places to live and take the pressure off the metropolitan areas. One of the problem with St. Catherine is the traffic congestion. But we know that the government has made an announcement that they're going to build some lanes after the ferry to take the traffic off. So you separate the traffic. Still going to have the old harbour problem. But if you take half of the traffic off, which I think most people are going to Portmore area, then that will help. Because so you can't just build a lot of houses without having the supporting infrastructure, and one of which is roads. But then we have another problem, and it's something that it's necessary for some other segments. The schools and employment should follow, or it should be done in conjunction with housing development. Because if all the schools are in Kingston, the majority of the schools, and then you have the other problem where people want their children to all go to the same school. If you have to take your children to Kingston, if we use Kingston, I don't know much about how the St. James system works with schools and so. But I know for a fact, because I had been involved in helping to raise money to build some schools outside of Kingston. If you have all the schools and the employment in Kingston, no matter how many people you put in the outside of Kingston, you're going to have a problem. And as a result of that problem, you're going to have the demand pressure on the metropolitan area versus out of town. So if we could fix some of those things, fix the infrastructure as the government has promised with the road network, fix the school system by building more schools that are needed outside of Kingston, encourage the creation of employment to reverse rural to urban migration, then you could shift the demand over time for housing in a greater way, for housing outside. Of course, plenty of houses are being built. You go to Old Harbour now, Old Harbour is buzzing with affordable and semi-affordable homes, or homes within the sweet spot.
Yes.
But people are still going to have a problem with, with traversing.
On the matter now of the price point, as you were mentioning, in Old Harbour, you have a lot of houses in a nice sweet spot where people can afford to purchase. For persons out there seeking to purchase, this aspect of collaboration to purchase, talk to us about that.
Yes, and this collaboration can be done at all levels. But I start off with, many people don't know that an institution like National Housing Trust can lend money in groups to buy property. They have a cluster program where up to 27 people can buy. Now, I would love for this concept to be broadly and more widely used. I would love to be able to find 5 and 6 acres of land, sell to 20-odd people, up to 20-odd people, help them to facilitate the subdivision into individual lots, 27 lots out of 5 acres, whatever it is, whatever the number. And NHT would support that and support the acquisition. The technical department will support the subdivision and then lend you money to start to build your house. Many people are not doing that. But even if you go to the upper income level, people call me selling a piece of land up in Kingston 9 for $80 million. So people call me and say, oh, I thought it was a lot. What's your budget? $20 million. Why don't 4 of you, 6 of you buy this property?
Mm-hmm.
You go to work with people, you spend most of your hours with them. You have relatives who you're close to. You have friends who you interact with. I've seen it happen already in the past. Can you come together, purchase a property, engage somebody from the group or outside who has the project management experience, build, get the approval done just like a developer would do and sell you the units. You can be your own developer among friends and acquaintances. You don't have to build as many as the developer is doing and crowd the place. And if some of us would look beyond just trying to buy what they can't afford, but collaborate to buy the land and see through the development, rather than try to buy an expensive lot and then can't build.
Mm-hmm.
I am promoting this kind of collaboration. It can work for the lower income bracket through NHT, and NHT provides all that support. It can work at the higher levels, and you just get somebody to help you to work through how to get it done. I've seen it happen. I know a group of professionals had done this up at Millsboro, where I think they own about 10 villas, all designed the same way. Land usage was done the same way you do for multifamily, and you all end up owning your house. And then some people ask me, so what if your relationship with somebody break up? I say, yeah, but you do the same thing in buying with strangers in other multifamily units, and you end up either living with them in harmony, or you sell and move on. But at least you're no worse off collaborating to buy land and build similar houses, standardized houses. You're no worse off than going to a developer and buy in a development with strangers.
And finally, Dennis, that is definitely an avenue that you don't hear a lot of people talking about. It was good of you to put it back on the table this morning for those listening to consider. But any final words you want to give on the state of the real estate market at this time?
Yeah, just to say that the advice I would give is to developers to begin to recognize that there is a gap. There's a space in the market that enough people are not filling. Everybody wants to go to Kingston 6 to build. You go to some areas now, and there's a proliferation of East Kings House Road and those places. Find areas where you can acquire land cheaper, where you can build cheaper units. Build them smaller, 1,100 square feet, 2-bedroom, and sell them cheaper, because we as agents in the market are walking around with pre-qualification letters for certain price points, and we just can't find enough to fill this gap. So it has to be a supply side solution.
Yeah. Dennis Hickey, CEO of Hickey Grand Property Masters. The focus this morning was part 2 on the state of the real estate market. Thank you so much for your time, Dennis.
My pleasure.
Going to take a break and come back with your birthdays.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:45.
The Birthday Club is brought to you by Burger King. Stretch your dollar at Burger King with a new Double King combo. 1 original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Jr. with cheese. Plus a small fries and drink for only $1,300.
I can save it from yourself, but I could offer you a new start. And I can take away your fears, but I could buy the lips of your broken heart. To take you high and show you what my love can do. Do you want to go to heaven with my arms around you? Take my breath away.
That time of the morning when we tell some very special people happy birthday and happy anniversary. Happy birthday greetings going out to Gemini Queen Amanda Bonner. May you have one of the best birthdays ever, and may the good Lord continue to shower you with blessings. A blessed happy birthday. Happy birthday Amanda Bonner. This message says hashtag birthday, hashtag Gemini, hashtag Queen, hashtag blessings, celebration, hashtag Amanda Bonner. Happy birthday to you, Amanda. Happy birthday greetings also going out to, this one says, my sister Joy Gray, who is celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Joy Gray. Wishing for you a wonderful day. Over on Facebook, it's Nadine Mahabir's birthday today.
What?
Happy birthday to you, Nadine Mahabir. Wishing for you a wonderful day, special lady. Happy birthday.
Yes, indeed.
Happy birthday as well to, this one says, Juicy K Simone. Hey to you, Simone.
Simone Juicy.
Yeah, say Juicy K Simone over on Facebook. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Bash English. It's also the birthday of Shona T. Smith, Peter W. Jones, Jillian Francis, Romario A. White, Christina Pearsall. Happy birthday. Happy birthday also going out to Nikkei Wholeness and Jenny Garillo. It's your birthday, Jenny. Happy birthday. Who else is on the B-Day list today? Happy birthday wishes for the absolutely best uncle in the world, Wilfred Wright, aka Uncle Littleman of Chudley Path District, Walderston in Manchester. The message to you this morning, Uncle Littleman, thanking God for blessing this family with such a special treasure as our uncle, wishing him good health and prosperity. Greetings coming from his battalion of nieces and nephews at home and abroad, all his sisters and his brothers, and all of his relatives. We love you, Uncle. Have an amazing birthday. So happy birthday to Wilfred Wright, aka Uncle Littleman. Who else is on the B-Day list? Do let us know. William Price sending happy birthday. He says to my complete wife, Shelly.
Hi.
Love always. So happy birthday to you, Shelly, coming from your husband, William Price. Scrolling on down, Everton D is sending or saying happy anniversary going out to Everton and Corinne Dunbar. So Everton, it's your anniversary. The Dunbars are celebrating their anniversary. Happy anniversary to Everton and Corinne Dunbar. Wishing them all the best on their special day. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Do let us know. I see some of you wishing Nadine a happy birthday, hoping that she'll have a superb one. I second that. Again, happy birthday to you, Nadine Mahabir.
Every hour, every day, I love you, take my breath away. In your arms, I'm safe, secure. Every care around me melts away. When you hold me, I forget every word that I wanted to say. I am freely lost in your love. There's no one else for me. I surrender completely. Oh, my heart's racing, I'm shaking, caught up in the love we're making. This is no ordinary love, oh baby. Oh, skin of my skin, oh, it's so good I feel like crying. This is no ordinary love. I don't ever want to say goodbye.
Paulette Wheatle sending happy birthday to Judith Nicely over there in Helsha. Hey to you, Judith. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Coming from Paulette Wheatley. Scrolling on down. Roger Smart sending happy birthday to his son, Nathan Smart, who turns 14 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Nathan. And Roger, your dad is saying to you, Daddy loves you. Continue to make him proud. So happy birthday to you, Nathan. Scrolling on down, I did see a birthday greeting here from Arlene Rowe, the queen of the birthday segment. Arlene Rowe sending belated happy birthday blessings to her beautiful, sweet granddaughter, Akeelia Terlong, or is this Terlong? I'm seeing Akila Turlong, aka Angel, who is there in Atlanta, Georgia, from her dad, Gareth, her mom, Melissa, sisters, aunts, cousins, the entire family, and of course, Akila, your grandma, Arlene Rose. So belated happy birthday to you. Veronica Burke Smith is sending very special happy birthday to Susie Smith from the Cayman Islands and her granddaughter Melina McField, who turns 6 years old today. So to Susie Smith from the Cayman Islands and your granddaughter Melina McField, happy birthday to both of you, coming from Veronica Burke Smith.
Safe, secure, every care around me melts away. When you hold me, I forget every word that I wanted to say. I am really lost in your love. There's no one else for me. I surrender completely. Oh, my heart's racing, I'm shaking, caught up in the love we're making. This is no ordinary love, oh baby. Oh, skin on my skin, oh, it's so good, I feel like crying. This is no ordinary love. I don't ever wanna say goodbye, I can never breathe.
The Birthday Club was brought to you by Burger King. Stretch your dollar at Burger King with a new Double King Combo. 1 original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Junior with cheese. Plus a small fries and drink for only $1,300.
Good morning, Mr. Obstacles. How you doing today? If I am living, I have to live it up. No matter the feeling, I got to get up. If I am living, I have to live it up. No matter the feeling, I got to get up.
And that's your spirit. And you can do it. Oh, that's your spirit. And you can do it.
Yeah. And that's the spirit. When you fall on the ground, get up, pick up your sin. You can do it. Brush off your clothes and prepare for something in. And that's the spirit. No time for those. Get up, wake up and move. Put on your champion shoes. I tell the man in the mirror, you are a winner. Can do it. You are a champion. Oh, you can get through it. Cause if I am living, I have to live it up. No matter the feeling, I got to get up. If I am living, I have to live it up. No matter the feeling, I got to get up.
And that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide This Morning, NTM. Thanks so much to our technical operator and the musical maestro, Jermaine King, our super producer, Michelle McCray Smith, and our super editor, Kimone Thompson. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10, Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana.
Want to sleep?
You ate? You ate?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's how you was. Good morning.
Just heard Nationwide This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM.